Seth Rollins, our Monday Night Messiah, our savior of SmackDown, I am eternally grateful for injuring Sting, what I hoped was for good.
Jesus. That's just gross.
You go really extreme with these like your hatred of people.
It's not a hatred of Sting personally. I enjoyed him in the 90s.
Now, what's going on, y'all? Jay Nakram, Marcus Cash. We've got a special guest. What's going on, boss? SP3, the True Heel Heat. True Heel.
The truest, or heeliest? How do you go about that?
By the way, this is as cordial as this is going to be for the rest of the program.
It seems so. Everyone seems to call me boss. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, but
what do you prefer, Czar?
I love Jesus. All right.
Absolutely. The Czar of True Heels.
It's time for the AE recap for All Elite Wrestling's Wednesday Night Dynamite for December 2nd. Winter is coming. All right, this is a big show. This is a very big show.
A big deal.
A big deal. We all agree on that. It was a big show.
AEW Dynamite in history.
Yes, it was a gigantic deal.
Yes. In advertisement and execution, I will give you that. I
don't know how long this thing's gonna be, but I would like to keep I would like to keep it together. All right. So first, when we discussed this, mainly you, let's just talk about in a vacuum what it was. You with me?
We might have to define vacuum, but I'll take your leads.
I love how in a vacuum it became a title of an episode. It's now become the thing on this show.
We can discuss what it means, what the show means for the future of AEW. But first, let's talk about how it was executed on the show.
I'm going to follow your leads.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
I'm going to follow your
All right, anyway, the show opened with the Battle Royal. I got to be honest, I didn't love the show opening with the Battle Royal. I tried to look at it from like a, I don't want to say casual fan perspective. Yeah, I guess that's the word for it. Because the first half of the match, I just didn't love. I got to be honest, I was quite annoyed. The second half, I thought was splendid. Like, I love the second half of the Battle Royal. I love what the Inner Circle did. I love Miro. I hate Hangman Page's elimination, but I love his almost elimination. I'm here for Hangman in the Dark Order. I don't know why. I don't know why that works for me.
I thought I was the only one that really digs the story. I dig it. Like, it makes sense. Dark Order has always been about capitalizing on people when they're losing and when they're down in the dumps. And Hangman Page is the perfect I don't know. I'm going to botch that word. So I think of another word. He's a perfect example of that type of person, that type of thinking, and that mentality. So it just makes sense for the Dark Order to try to recruit him.
Right?
And John Silver on Hangman's back might be my favorite picture of this whole episode.
He's a star.
Yeah,
God damn it.
John Silver.
Did you read the fans when he got eliminated?
Right? As they should be.
John Silver's a breakout star, and I kind of popped a little bit for when he knocked out. What's the other one? When it doesn't matter. Is that Reynolds?
Alex Reynolds.
Yeah. It kind of popped for that. That was my moment for John Silver. But yeah, love Miro. I would have I also would have opened with this match in the first place. But this match didn't matter until Miro started going crazy.
To be fair, I felt like they were setting that up when they had all these bums in after Hangman got eliminated.
Yeah,
Matt Hardy was still in.
I think matter is not a good word to use. Maybe you weren't into the first half of the match, but this was a rare battle royal where everything mattered. Every single elimination was a part of the story. You had Matt Hardy eliminating Private Party to develop his heel turn. You had the little interplay with the Dark Order, Hangman helping the Dark Order. You had Miro going off and being the star of this whole match and also continuing the feud with Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. And you had the Inner Circle kind of being the heels, not trying to get in any of the action until it was very late. You had the little hope spot for Jungle Boy way elevating him because it's been a while since they kind of put a spotlight on him, and that was nice. So everything in this match, I'm so used to other companies who have battle royals, and I'm not just talking about WWE, I'm even talking about Impact and other places where the battle royal will 90% of it and the eliminations don't matter. It doesn't develop anything. It doesn't create a story or develop or progress a story. Everything in this battle royal is about a story. It was about something. I mean, sometimes that's an issue for AEW because everybody has a storyline, and it's like the Attitude Era where people said, oh, everybody from top to bottom had a story. This is what we get from AEW, but I think it was a good choice to start with the battle royal because it got people energized. People were into it. John Silver was one of the stars of the first half of the battle royal, and then Miro was the star of the second half. So I think matter is not a good word. Maybe inconsequential to you in the first half, but I think you can't say it didn't matter.
It felt like, all right, let's start at the very beginning. It's a cold open, right? Show starts, there's 100 people around the ring, nobody got a spotlight entrance or anything, right?
Well,
and I get for time-wise for the show,
MJF had a promo.
Yeah. That was.
That's all I wanted to say before you decided to talk over you. Go ahead. Just wanted to throw that in there, just lightly, and then he was like, I'm just going to talk over Mac, because fuck that guy. So I yell it instead.
Because I had started talking before you said well.
Because you were about to move on to the next thing, and it was inaccurate. Go ahead.
It was a cold open.
No, it wasn't. He had his promo that hyped up the match, that set it up. Because that was the main thing, I think, that I had an issue with even the booking of this Battle Royal last week, is that MJF's the owner of the Dynamite Diamond Ring. So what are we doing here? Is he in the match? Is he not in the match? Is he defending the Diamond Ring? Or is he just going to be out of it? So we needed that promo to kind of set up the Battle Royal.
I thought we should have got the promo last week, then.
Yeah, probably so. But it was if it had to be here, then I think it was the best thing. What would you rather have opened the show instead of this?
Do you have an answer? Because I have an answer.
I don't know.
That's something you're not gonna like either.
Not this.
I would have had Cody and company open the show.
No, when we get to that part, I will explain why that made sense because of what happened in the post-match. It made sense to have that right before the main event because as we saw with the ratings, everyone turned the channel. Everyone turned the fucking channel.
Shouldn't you do it in the beginning of the show?
No, because people will tune out by the women's match. I'm sorry, we're big fans of Britt Baker, but the casual wrestling fan is not, and that was not the best match.
I don't know who that is. Oh, Go Big. Oh, feel free. I apologize.
Dr. Go. Dr. Go Baker.
Dr. Go Baker, I like Layla Hirsch, but that wasn't the best matchup for her.
Yes, he loves Layla Hirsch. I don't get it.
I could have seen people turning the channel, even though they had turned the channel for what happened in the post-match of the Cody match. They would have turned the channel on that. I'm sorry.
Well, since we're rebooking this entire show, apparently, how about instead of a 10-minute long Go Baker fucking Hirsch match, we decide to hype up this goddamn main event. That's going to be a big deal. It's fucking splendid, and it didn't even get the same booking as fucking Hager and Moxley. Why does it not treat like it's the biggest thing ever? Which it is. Why did I only get a Moxley promo, and that was the end of it? Oh,
I think we should have gotten
there's a few things that could have got cut time wise.
Like earlier in the show, I do agree with that.
A few things could have got cut time wise. I don't know what I'd put in that open. I just didn't like how it started. Like, inconsequential maybe is a better word, like you said, but it didn't feel like anything until Miro started going crazy. I get everybody's got a story. I actually like that about AEW, because that's what I liked about the Attitude Era, but it's like...
What if it opened with an MJF entrance?
Like, with his music and everything?
Everybody's around the ring, he's the one that's got the diamond anyway, and then we open with MJF coming out.
I'm good with that.
Looking douchey.
Especially because he's technically the defending Dynamite ring champion.
I didn't notice that you said MJF might not be in the match. You said people weren't sure. Why have him in the match at all? I wouldn't have done it. I would have had fucking Cassidy win, and then he fights MJF for the fucking thing next week.
This is another thing, though, why I think that it worked well in the opening segment, because with the how they structured it last year was they had the Battle Royal and then the final two guys go on to the next week to fight for the Diamond Ring.
Mm-hmm.
So with that opening segment, having it in the opening segment, from the first 10 minutes of the show, you have a reason to watch next week. Because you got two very popular stars, young stars, well, not necessarily young with Orange Cassidy, but new stars in MJF and Orange Cassidy, who people are going to tune in to watch the Dynamite Diamond Ring matchup for next week. So within the first segment, you have a reason to watch next week. That's episodic television at its best.
That's fair enough. By the end of the Battle Royal, I really liked the Battle Royal. I'll say that much.
Yeah, the ending was a lot better. Like, just the chicanery with MJF and, like, him hiding in the corner, and he was, like, posing in the corner with Sandy, which was hilarious because they hate each other.
You like Matt, right? I mean, you hated Matt. I mean, in general, you hate Matt Hardy, but...
I'm hopeful for what heel Matt Hardy could be.
Okay.
If this is the big money Matt character coming back. But in
Seems like it.
general, and because he gave me hope for, like, what was that, 1 week? And then he went back to his idiocy. I don't have too high hopes. So for now, it's still fuck Matt Hardy entirely.
Fair enough.
So this is like a version of Big Money Rag, but I've heard it being called the elitist Matt Hardy. And I love his social media game with the result of the main event. He had the picture of the Stadium Stampede, and he was like, look at the greatness of Matt Hardy. The teammates that I have are all champions. Thank you, Matt Hardy.
I love that. That's solid.
I like corny and punny and gimmick, so elitist, I can give that a shot. I don't have high hopes though, because it's been a year of just rough to watch, like channel clickbait for Matt Hardy.
Speaking of old guys who probably should go away, I think next was Chris Jericho. I'm sorry, Chris Jericho. I love Chris Jericho. Don't get me wrong. I love Chris Jericho. He's one of the GOATs. He's in my top 5, even though that fucking election shit blew my mind. Oh my god. I thought Chris Jericho was Canadian. How's he this dumb?
Well,
he even go through our American system.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an accomplishment, though, because I will tell you a behind-the-scenes story that 12 years ago, this man used to argue with me on a regular basis when Jericho had his suit, honest man gimmick, and I was like, yes, he's up there as a top star. This man argued with me that he was even in the top 10. So I think we've come a long way with Chris Jericho. You've done work in the past 12 years.
Chris Jericho's done work in the past 12 years, God damn it. He changed his gimmick like 4 times since then. They've all hit. That's impressive. Yeah, Chris Jericho versus Kazarian. This is something I didn't love from start to finish.
This was bad.
Excuse me? Okay, go ahead.
Bad. Like, you need to hit ×2 to see a almost regular paced match.
You gotta hit fast forward.
You gotta hit fast forward at least ×2 to come close to a regular paced match. What? Like, I get you don't want to hurt each other in his wrestling or whatever. You gotta show up next week, particularly Jericho, right? Because they're gonna do whatever. But, like, you shouldn't look so careful and so protective that you're going so slow, or being so old and out of shape that you have to go that slow.
What are we talking about? This is very insulting.
Pick 'em.
No, this is very insulting to Kazarian. Kazarian is still solid at whatever age he is.
That flux capacitor? Come on.
Yeah,
Come on. You're being ridiculous.
Nice.
I understand your faults with Jericho. He doesn't move like he once did in the ring.
That's the nicest I've ever heard him put.
To say the least. But this was a good, in my opinion, I thought this was a good match. Mainly carried by Kazarian, because Kazarian, I think, just overperforms anytime he gets a singles opportunity. And this was another example of that.
I don't think Kazarian needs to be getting singles opportunity. We have enough people on this overcrowded roster already, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to later. We might skip the Cody match and do it at the end.
Right.
We just ramble for an hour.
But he doesn't need to get singles matches. He doesn't really need to be on TV, quite frankly. And I don't hate Kazarian, but you're getting to a certain age where you should be putting over talent or training and coaching them.
Your word is perfect for Kazarian to me. Kazarian is inconsequential. And that's kind of sad. Because I used to love Kazarian. But he doesn't have a character. He's rather bland.
He doesn't have a story.
He's a solid hand. And he did his best with Chris Jericho. But what do you want?
He doesn't need to be wrestling Jericho on Dynamite. On the biggest Dynamite.
I agree, but it's the first time ever. Like, yeah, because Chris Jericho couldn't be bothered with fucking Frankie Kazarian. That's why. What are you talking about?
Yes, because Kazarian got to WWE for 45 seconds.
If Sting fights Kazarian, it'd be the first time ever, too.
I
You know The Rock versus Kazarian the first time?
I like this match. The one thing I didn't like is I feel like the dissension within Inner Circle is rushed as fuck. I wish that they, after the whole Vegas segment, that they would have bonded. They would have been on good terms for a while. I understand the tease in the Battle Royal because MJF is MJF. He's a jerk. But I just felt like it was a little rushed, especially right after. You're doing all this shit, and I get giving a hook for next week as well. That's why that was the one thing I did like about it, because it gave you another hook to watch next week. But it just feels rushed, and it's like, give them like 2-3 months to be as a team before this happens. It feels like they are rushing the whole MJF tearing down the Inner Circle way too fast.
I hated that finish. That finish just felt very. I'm not sure they were off. It was terrible. Everything was timed perfectly.
Poor Kazarian had to be in that same position of the Boston Crab, and his legs was falling out. Like,
that whole
like,
Jericho's fat legs as I'm trying to fucking sell this stupid finish. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Like, I get Sammy being upset with MJF for, eliminating him in that Battle Royal, but yeah, we can not break this up so quickly. Or at least Jericho being so over it. I'm like, you guys have been together for 45 seconds. You can't be this over the group where it's like, well, we're all going to break up then if you can't get it together. Like, it's been a couple weeks. If they're going to bicker back and forth Sammy and MJF because he screwed him tonight, that's one thing. But, pause. But, I don't know what's coming up behind this. I don't know if there's a tour or something.
Maybe they're just going around Jericho's maybe schedule. Like, he's like, I might have something to do next week, so I might have to break this thing up. All right. But yeah, I kind of be honest, I'm over in a circle. Sans MJF, like, he's only, and Warlow. I gotta be honest, I'm more interested in that dissension than I am in anything going on with the Inner Circle. I want to see Warlow break away and do his own thing. Up next with your guys, Young Bucks promo. Explain to me what this is. Why are we mentioning that they super kicked the guy in the face? Why are we mentioning that at all?
That part was okay. I think this whole thing fell apart when Black John Cena came into the equation with that awful rap.
He loved him.
That was bad.
I like him too. I'm a big fan of Anthony Bowens. Anthony Bowens is a part of the True Heel Heat sponsored Battle Club Pro. He was their first ever franchise heavyweight champion there. Anthony Bowens, it looks like a star. He has the presence of a star. Max Caster is good on the mic, and usually his raps hit. But you give him a big opportunity on Dynamite, and it just...
Didn't it feel like Matt Jackson wrote that?
That's his new thing, by the way. Anything that goes wrong involving the Elite at all, matter of fact, it's Matt Jackson's fault. Is fair? I don't hate that theory.
It feels very Matt Jackson. It's got MJ written all over it.
Like, they're ridiculous.
Because Matt Caster's going places. He's hilarious. But that was bad. And wasn't it Matt? Or it could have been Nick. I don't remember. But somebody referenced him like, that gimmick's been done before. Like, was Nick? He's a cunt too.
Jesus, okay.
It stink. Hey, didn't we kick him in the face?
Listen.
Speaking of other things, we're going to segue into this. Who writes for them?
Them. They do.
Exactly.
They're not good.
Did SCU save Young Bucks? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, from TH2.
Why? Why?
They were feuding with TH2 before they got their opportunities on Dynamite.
Can we blow this up next week? Can they have their tag match? I guess their final tag match. Maybe we can make it what the fuck was it? Dustin Rhodes, the Natural Nightmares tag match. We can make it impossibly bloody for no good reason.
Let's
make it a bunkhouse brawl match and get all 4 of them out of here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like a last man standing tag team match.
For some reason.
And permanently.
Jesus.
Last man standing.
Jesus Christ. Calm down.
That's a bit much. Just a bit much.
Well, just by nature of the rules, one of those bucks go away.
I was talking about the other two. Let's see you and your guys.
I knew what you were talking about.
Up next was Goat Baker and what's her name?
Layla Hirsch.
Listen, I'm sure I hate to sound like fucking Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette bothers me on every level. Just because I used to be fond of him. And because I only got him in little spurts, not getting like various phrases.
Now it's a gimmick.
Yeah, now it's a gimmick. He's Stephen A. Smith. He's playing a character now. Stephen A. Smith is playing Stephen A. Smith.
His gimmick is hate everything the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega do, and I watch AEW, but I'm gonna shit on it for an hour and a half. Oh shit, Cash. Are you stealing Jim Cornette's gimmick?
Oh shit! The way he said it was hilarious.
I'm not stealing his gimmick.
By the way.
But I've become very understanding of how Jim Cornette feels with Matt Jackson.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yeah, he doesn't sound like him. But Layla Hirsch, I'm sure she's very talented. I don't know. Goat Baker is not the person she should be in the ring with. Goat Baker is like 5'7", and quite frankly looks like
5'8",
6'3". In the ring with her. That shit is awkward. That shit was awkward to watch. And I felt bad for the GOAT, I gotta be honest.
I've seen Layla Hirsch before this outside of AEW. I felt like she had a very solid matchup with Serena Deeb a couple of weeks ago on Dynamite. But I agree with you. It just looked very awkward. It was a lot of missed time spots between the two ladies, and yeah, it just didn't work.
Didn't it feel like it was gonna be like when you saw them next to each other? Didn't it feel like a joke match? Like this was fucking the Big Show versus Rey Mysterio was gonna do his thing, and I was like, this looks weird.
I have a different issue.
Okay,
and Sid, I'm glad you've seen her outside of AEW, right? Because she's mostly been enhancement talent in AEW, right? She's got some potential. Like, she's an actual shooter-looking girl who can move.
No, she's not. Stuff. She might be a shooter-looking girl. She don't look like a shooter-looking girl. What the fuck are you talking about? She looks like...
she's 4'11".
Yeah.
But she's got some...
Yeah, I wish I could play in the NBA too, goddamn, but it ain't gonna work.
She's got some skill about her where you can do something with her, more so than some of the other people. I think Layla Hirsch can do more than... I don't know what she's done outside of AEW. I don't like Highland King. Right? I
liked her last time I saw her.
Yeah, she's alright. I like her. She has talent.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Every of these ladies have potential and talent. It just, I don't think this was the right opponent for Layla Hirsch. I feel like everything that she's done, even as an enhancement talent in AEW, has hit. This one just did.
I was saying,
this is an exception to the rule.
I'm saying, we could feed somebody else to Dr. Goat Baker.
Yeah.
I don't think we needed to put another loss on Dynamite to Layla Hirsch.
Those don't matter. As Ricky Starks has said. God damn it. Won 9 of my last 10 matches. What?
15-2. Come on. Wait, right. I popped for that. I was like, yeah, Ricky's got a great one.
Right? I gotta be honest though, I'm not sure if it was the leather. Thunder Rose was like a star to me.
Oh my God! That was the most intensity I've seen from any women's segment yet, and I was like, okay, I'm down on this match, but as soon as she came in and they started slugging it out, I was like, this is your feud, AEW. This is the feud to focus on in the women's division.
Don't fuck this up. Please don't fuck this up.
Yeah, I just like the pull apart and then they come back together. Ryu even got in some fisticuffs there.
I thought that was cute.
So I was here for this. I like this very much. It feels like this is gonna lead to a tag match because like didn't Hirsch like German suplex Reba or something? So I feel like there's a tag match next week or whatever. But
well, knowing AEW, they might just do a singles match with Hirsch and Reba.
Well, knowing AEW,
how bad Reba looked last time she was in the ring.
I
love Reba. She's hilarious. But come on now.
knowing AEW though, they might have this tag match. An hour and 45 minutes into Dark next week.
No, they'll have it on the show. They seem to be focusing this feud on AEW Dynamite, and I think it's a way to prolong things. I could see them having the first Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker match for Beach Break, which is going to be in January. Or I know Tony Khan did a conference call before Winter is Coming,
and
he said they're going to have big shows for Christmas and New Year's. So maybe on one of those shows we have that match.
How much time you got?
I got it.
A decent amount of time? Good. Fuck what I said earlier, because this show is going to be littered with random complaints and praises. Tony Khan started to bother me. I'm hearing his name way too much. I don't want to hear from Tony Khan. Whenever I hear from Roger Goodell too much, that means I'm not focusing on the games. I don't want to hear from Tony Khan. But what he said about Miro being so poorly booked that we got to go from the ground up, I thought was horseshit until I saw the Battle Royal. I was like, oh shit, good job. You know what?
This is my thing. This is the difference, and I get that. I get people like Roger Goodell has ruined it for you in sports. Vince McMahon has ruined it for us in professional.
Stephanie McMahon would be the main culprit.
Steph, yeah.
It seems like, and I've even gone as far on True Hill Heat, the podcast, comparing Tony Khan to Dixie Carter with some of his tweets when he overreads things. When he said that Baker versus Moxley was the greatest empty arena match he ever saw, and then that bombed. Like, I was like, you're becoming Dixie Carter here. But
what?
Wow. It seems that when he does conference calls and he says things, it pays off, and you're seeing that, oh shit, he actually told the truth. Because after Full Gear, he was like, I hear all the complaints about the women's division, and it's valid. He was like, we have done a poor job of building the women's division, but we're going to get better. And ever since Full Gear, there has been more focus on the women's division. We don't get one random segment. Even if it's just one match on the card, we're seeing multiple segments, even if it's a promo, if it's an attack backstage, Jay Cardale breaking Brandy Rose's arm, the little promo with Hikaru Shida. We're seeing more focus on the women's division. And then, like you said, with him talking about Miro and saying that he was like, he didn't want to wait till January. January is when he feels like Miro will be at a position where everybody wants him to be, but he didn't want to wait that long. He wanted to bring him in now, so he had to start him from the bottom. And that's what I kind of said from the very beginning when Miro debuted as Kip Sabian's best man. I was like, this is just the starting place. This is the place to start. They have like Cash said, that's one thing that you can complain and praise about AEW. They have way too much talent.
Yes.
That's both praise and a criticism. They have way too much talent, and it was good to place them in this position because there's some focus on it, but not too much. But we're seeing that they're giving him opportunities to kind of show that he is a star.
Yes. And I think he's finally kind of got rid of the rust. He looks like a badass now.
Yeah, he's finally finding his own. I love the media scrums that Tony Khan does. You know, the post-show whatevers. I dig that. Like you said, his tweets sometimes, those could be hit or miss. The name dropping, though. Everybody mentions Tony Khan or TK on the show all the time.
It is a little bothersome.
And it's like either you're going to come out and be Vince, or your name shouldn't be mentioned so much. I don't mind that his name is mentioned, but it gets mentioned about 3 or 4 times per show.
I think it's because they don't have an authority figure. It's similar to how many times they used to mention Jack Tunney. I come from the era where I started as a wrestling fan in WWF. They said Jack Tunney's name way more than we saw him. and even in WCW, Nick Bockwinkel was their authority figure. They said his name way more times than we actually saw him.
But
so
to be fair,
established authority figure, which I will get into, maybe that's the best role for the newest acquisition that they have. I just think that it is something that they have to kind of say who is making the matches, who is making these decisions. So they're respecting our intelligence as viewers. We know Tony Khan is the president, so we're gonna say his name. That's the guy making the matches.
To be fair though, but like last week when somebody goes, hey, I want somebody to acknowledge my title, out comes Cody, or out come one of the Bucks, or whatever. Whenever they need a management figure to come out, the Elite just comes out.
Yeah, because they don't. Tony doesn't want to be on screen.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just don't think it needs to be name dropped so much.
He'll be there. I guarantee it.
Like I said, I don't
my life savings on it.
I don't mind one or two, Tonys or TKs, but it feels abused.
All right.
So it's starting to become not special to me.
It's not special. Jesus. Really?
Yeah.
Was it special to you at one point?
Well,
Some guy?
I thought it was kind of cool. Like, oh shit, they name dropped Tony Khan.
Oh, you are, Mark.
It's the first time, yeah.
So to speak. Well, you used to be at least.
I used to be, yeah.
Boo. Speaking of too much talent, FTR had is that a video package or a promo? I don't remember, but they talked for a little bit for the first time since God knows when. They lost the belts, actually. I gotta be honest. I don't want to trash Young Bucks anymore, but I'm just very saddened about what's going on with FTR. How the mighty have fallen. They were one of my favorite things to watch week in and week out. Then they lost belts. And a good match. A great match, according to you. By the way, wait a minute. I might cut this.
Fantastic match.
Did you know that Dave Meltzer rated 12 matches over 5 stars in 2018? I know it's a random stat.
What about the other 9?
The other 9 matches at 5 stars in 2018? Most from NJPW.
21 in total.
21 matches.
5 or more.
21 matches that were perfect or more than perfect.
I was so grossed out. I was looking for Becky Lynch matches. I've been going to Becky Lynch. And fucking, it just randomly bothered me. What do I think about that?
I've never seen a 5-star Becky Lynch match.
I wasn't looking for a 5-star Becky Lynch match. I was looking for Meltzer rated matches so I could just skip on a network to Becky Lynch. Anyways, your insults.
I'll tell you, Charlotte versus Becky at Evolution is her best match ever.
It was a great match. I saw that one. That was good.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love the gimmick when I like watching the matches. What was I going to say? Right, because I always think of Meltzer when I think of Young Bucks.
Meltzer driver.
Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. How did they get here? I don't know. The people. That's why. I want to blame them, but I have to blame the people. It is what it is.
Because it was funny.
Yes.
It's like if people fucking hate reality TV stars. If they didn't make themselves popular, that's not how that works. Yeah, I thought the promo was fine. I wish we had heard from them earlier, like a couple weeks ago, quite frankly. But I guess they had nothing to do. Might as well hold off till now. Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, one, because I know the behind the scenes stuff with them.
Okay.
Technically, from what I know, from what I've heard in the know.
Sid Broussard, go ahead.
I don't want to name drop because they haven't really reported this yet. But
Sid Bomb.
FTR does not have a long-term deal with AEW. So I know that they were upset with the build to Full Gear. But in storyline, it makes sense for them not to be on TV to take a couple of weeks off because this is the biggest loss of their career. They are basically, you're elevating the result of the match and what happened in that match by being off so many weeks. And it's also allowing the Young Bucks to kind of establish other teams. TH2 is able to get these opportunities on Dynamite that they didn't get before. They introduced Top Flight and they have gotten a spotlight. Now you got the Acclaim getting their opportunity on Dynamite for the first time. So FTR not being there is giving time to elevate other teams. But I think by the time we get to January, we're on the road to Revolution. I think we get FTR versus the Young Bucks too.
Are they going to be like LeBron James, where it's like we're just not going to sign a long-term deal ever because I have to force you to not be a shit booker?
I gotta force you to not be Vince.
Yeah, like we might have to take our shit and run at some point because y'all fucked us up like y'all just did. Apparently, they didn't like. I don't think any of us love the build, right?
Yeah, I don't think anyone really liked the build as far as fans and whatnot, and even the Young Bucks even said that the build. I mean, it said the expectations were high enough, but the build wasn't what it needed to be. They wanted more time. They wanted to do that match at like Revolution, the first match. They wanted more time because then they could have more fans in attendance. They thought that this was a long-term story, and then someone backstage, Tony being the main person who makes the decision, was just like, we're going to do it at full gear. So they didn't have time to kind of further develop the story that was in play.
And knowing those two guys, like, you gotta imagine they want the flexibility to go to Japan when Japan opens.
Yeah.
Do a couple things over there.
Okay, fair enough. I know we're talking about Tony Khan a lot, even though you don't like that, apparently.
But no, on the show.
I'm being sarcastic. Thank you, sir. Jesus.
Okay. Go on with TK.
I'm not calling him to do TK. That is gross. Like he's this cool hip young. Enough.
He dresses like it backstage.
How old
I
is
think
he?
he's younger than us.
Disgusting.
What do you think? Well, why you mad? Is that his dad?
He's successful.
Yeah,
Is he? I thought his dad is successful.
His dad is
No,
successful.
he's successful.
Yeah.
How?
He has his own money.
He mismanaged.
When did he
the
get
football
it?
team. Okay.
Oh, like Donald Trump? I got a small loan of $1 million. Oh, that's it?
Like
Oh.
MJF. Like MJF.
Yeah. That shit is hysterical.
It's jealousy for me. Clearly, I have no problem admitting it, but
I don't have a problem. It is what it is. It's fucking.
Yeah.
It's what you call it? A trust fund baby. No disrespect.
platinum spoon.
Not being. Anyway, up next is the tag team match. Cody coming out last, which was the biggest entrance over the TNT champion Darby, by the way, versus Team Taz. Powerhouse Hobbs, which is a fantastic name. Very 80s, but awesome.
I wasn't with it at first when I first heard it, and then the more weeks that have gone by, I love it.
I was in on it immediately when I heard it.
I wasn't, but then they did the fucking. The face he makes is kind of like this. He looks like a Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, he looks ridiculous.
It's a little how it rolls. Powerhouse Hobbs.
And Ricky Starks.
Absolute. Ricky Starks.
I'm not calling him that. Even though I love Ricky Starks. Everything he does is hilarious to me. The fact that we haven't gotten fucking more Ricky Starks bothers me. And the fact that he doesn't talk about Darby anymore and his turtles bothers me as well.
Ricky Starks is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, he's splendid. Jesus. I thought the match was pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Is it me or I want to see Hobbs versus Darby? I like the way they matched up in the ring. The way Hobbs just kind of scooped him up, like with no momentum of any kind.
Pretty good big man, little man potential there.
Yeah. Cody
I think that's
Yeah.
the long-term angle. I think that Cody is going to be probably more positioned against Brian Cage because he has this whole vendetta against the FTW title, it seems. So I think that's the right decision.
Oh yeah, agreed. They work well. Cage is a lot more athletic than I thought offhand.
Yeah. Same.
What was the finish?
Cody with the Cody Cutter, and then the suicide dive to the Hobbs, and then Darby with the coffin drop on Ricky Starks for the pin.
With his shoulder up, by the way.
His shoulder was his arm was up, but not the shoulder. The shoulder blade was down.
The fact that Starks' shoulders down at all bothers me. But I guess somebody has to see
He's
that.
only lost to two guys. Still, two guys are the only two people that own two pinfall victories over him, and that's Darby Allin and Cody Rhodes.
It's kind of gross. Fair enough. By the way, Cody fucking giving Austin Gunn that win. How many weeks ago was that? The before full gear?
2 weeks.
It's still gross to me, by the way. It bothers me randomly during the day. In the main event, just randomly in the shower, watching a TV show randomly bothers me.
He's editing things
It
for his.
bothers me that Billy was in that main event.
Yes.
It bothers me that got the main event spot and not Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley's promo.
Yes.
Similar to last week where I felt like Omega and Moxley's contract signing should have been in the main event.
Fucking yes. And more importantly, I know this is wrestling, so you gotta kind of use your logic where you can. But why we saw Austin and Billy make a save a couple weeks ago? Shouldn't they make the same every fucking week since they're always at fucking ringside? Where the fuck were they this week? Why were they just standing around waiting? Did they know Sting was going to show up? Anyway.
People at ringside, they don't want to lose their seats.
Anyway, shit breaks out. Lights go out. Here comes Sting. I gotta be honest now. It felt like a big deal. But only because Tony Schiavone told me it was a big deal.
Tony Schiavone is the MVP of this whole fucking segment. Like, he made you feel like a kid again. I am one of the biggest Sting marks. He's the first wrestler I ever dressed as on Halloween. Yes, my black ass had the white face thing with the flag. The crow Sting, of course. Of course. Yeah. But the Surfer Sting is the first WCW wrestler I ever saw. Sting versus Vader in like 1992, 1993, that made me a WCW fan. That made me tune into TBS every Saturday for WCW Saturday Night. It made me a Nitro fan. The Sting and NWO feud, I would put that against any feud in the history of professional wrestling. And just hearing Tony Schiavone say, "It's Sting," it made me feel like a kid. I saw the crow in the video back before it even said Sting, and I went on Twitter and I was like, "Holy shit, it's Sting!"
Thank God you looked at Twitter.
I love this moment. This felt like the biggest moment in AEW history, especially Dynamite. Dynamite history, I would say the biggest moment or biggest debut in AEW history is Jon Moxley. But as far as Dynamite, this felt like the biggest moment.
For those of you, we're all old men, and I know AEW skews younger. So I gotta be honest, I don't know how this hit for everybody else, but for those of you wondering why, Sting felt like a superhero, like in '98. Like it was, I can't really compare it to anything else. I can't off the top of my fucking head. Yes, it was like he's hanging in Raptors. He has a bat. He beats up bad guys. Then he gets the fuck out. It was splendid. Here we are, 98, 2001. So 19 years later, Sting comes back. JR kind of felt how I felt. Oh, that's interesting. It's Sting.
What's Steve Borden doing in the Dynamite Zone?
JR was so not impressed. I get it, JR's fucking not impressed by a lot. And to be fair, this doesn't seem like his cup of tea. Actually, to be honest, he felt kind of disappointed.
And he's a WWE guy.
Just felt like he was kind of disappointed this thing was there. Tony Schiavone was hyped, as he should be. I love the snow.
The snow's a good effect.
Shit felt epic.
Right? It felt like a superhero, quite frankly.
The snow's a good effect.
Probably should have dyed his hair. But anyway, Sting comes out. He stares everybody down. Darby, Cody, and for some fucked up reason, Dustin Rhodes. Can you explain to me why Dustin's out there at all?
We skipped over that.
So, what I got from this whole segment was Sting coming down. I like the fact that he didn't attack anybody from Team Taz.
Agreed.
I like that he came down. Team Taz was already gone. It was like, oh no, we're getting the fuck out of here. Batman's here. Let's get the fuck out. Sting comes in, and the stairs had different meanings to me.
Okay.
Like, the stare at Arn Anderson was like, oh, I remember you, motherfucker.
Yes. I can see that.
Way back. We go way back. I don't like you necessarily. I respect you, but you're one of my enemies.
Right.
The stare at Dustin and especially Cody was more like, I know your father. I respect your father, and so I'm gonna respect you. The knee down to Cody. Like I know I'm one of your favorite wrestlers ever. I respect you. The stare at Darby was the one that hit the most and was the one that they wanted, and they focused on it, and they made it the most impactful because it was like, I don't know you, but you intrigue me. You have the face paint like me on one side, but the other side is nothing. And just look at the crowd, woo, and then gone. The whole presentation was masterful.
It was.
Because it focused on Sting the entire time, and then we went to commercial, and they didn't say, oh, let's get to the next thing, let's get to the main event. They said, no, we need to focus on what the fuck just happened.
I loved it. I did love that part of it. I thought Darby might have been the underrated MVP here. His facial expression there was kind of like, I don't understand what's going on, but for some reason I'm not scared. Like, I don't get it. Is that fucking Sting?
Dad?
Yeah, Dad? face.
Who are you? I'm only 20. How old is Gidari? 20 what?
20? I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Who is this?
Yeah, I've never seen you before, sir. We skipped over why Dustin was in the ring. Because Dustin and Arn Anderson, at a collective age of 152, have to be able to go toe-to-toe with Team Taz.
No.
They didn't go toe-to-toe. They literally got 3 punches in each and then got beat the fuck up.
To be fair,
There's punches, which are 4 punches too many.
Like, this man,
to be fair, they're so old. I was like doing the math in my head. Is that right?
He first thought that Sting attacked Team Taz on Facebook.
Okay.
I told you it's gonna go off the road. You didn't listen.
Okay,
I eventually made it sound like that.
I admitted to you on Facebook that I was in the wrong because I was so worked up at everything that was happening that I incorrectly placed the blame on Sting for that.
Very
and
emotional.
I took that back.
Very emotional.
Okay? Because more egregious is Arn Anderson and Dustin Rhodes. You said they got 3 punches in. That's 4 punches too many. Going toe to toe with any of the members of Team Taz. I don't care if it was Ricky. They should have been literally murdered.
To be
Team Taz.
fair, I don't like Arn getting punches in. To be fair, if your kids are jumping at you right now, you go, hey, what the fuck? Jesus, get off me, and then you would regain your fucking wits about yourself.
Exactly.
That's number one. And number two, thinking this over, they did just have a grueling fucking match. Dustin Rhodes should be able to get a couple fucking punches in on these motherfuckers. He's fresh.
I don't like how this has been since day one, if there's any opportunity to make Dustin not look 157 years old by himself, Arn's a lot younger, then we're going to take it and we're going to throw Dustin in there to get some punches in and be like his own hero.
See, this is why I asked you to keep it in a vacuum, because you're letting your Dustin Rhodes hate, which is acceptable. Cloud your fucking perspective on what actually fucking happened.
Arn also, because he's old, he shouldn't be out there mixing it up. Doesn't Arn have a bad arm?
To make the save, to have it make sense for Brian Cage to come out.
Doesn't Arn?
Because Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks had shit under control even without Brian Cage. When Arn got his punches in, all it took was a quick distraction from Taz, and they just got.
I can negate that, but just for a second, isn't there something physically wrong with Arn Anderson? Like legitimately, like one of his arms doesn't work well or something. I remember that being a thing where like he can't do this. His neck. It's a neck issue, and it goes down to one of his arms or whatever. Right? He doesn't need to be getting physical with anyone. At all, under any circumstances.
I feel like you're buying
if he would have just stood there, everybody would be saying the same thing we said about Billy and Austin. Why the fuck are you just standing there when you can help?
Except they're still wrestling. Arn Anderson's been retired for forever because he's hurt. In terms of the Brian Cage thing,
but we've seen him do stuff before,
and we shouldn't have.
Did we see him spine busters already?
And we shouldn't have.
Okay, well then say that. Don't say he shouldn't be doing anything because
this.
We ain't worried about his health and safety. No, you're not. You give half a fuck about his health. What are you battling about?
He should
just say I don't want to involve because he's older than my threshold for wrestlers.
Also,
doing shit.
But also,
he's got a health injury, and I'm looking out for him. Goddamn.
But legitimately, he is old and injured.
I think he knows what the fuck he's doing. I think he's an adult who can decide whether or not he can do something.
Bumps. He literally got punched once, and he was down.
Or he's an old wrestler who just won't go away. But in terms of your Brian Cage thing, I don't know. Brian Cage is a heel. He doesn't need the odds to be even to come out here and kick somebody's ass. He's a heel. He should be all for 3-on-1 beatdowns.
Like I said, you just took one part of what I said and just ignored the rest of it. Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks had shit under control. They didn't need Brian Cage.
It's not a matter of need.
Got 3 punches in and they laid his ass out.
It's not a matter of need.
To come out for Brian Cage to be necessary for come out and join the beatdown.
Necessary is for faces. If you're a heel, there is no need. If your 2 homies are beating down this one guy, I'm still talking. If your 2 homies are beating down this one guy and you are also villainous, you should gladly go out there and also kick ass with your homies.
That is a preposterous idea.
Yes, preposterous.
Why?
That's a great
because
word.
Gang life, that's what we do. We're bad guys. We're the heels. We go out there and we stomp them out.
Are you perpetually in 1997?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Brian Cage, one of the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, is going to fucking leave his chair, raised comfortably in the back, and go beat up some old guy because his two friends are beating up this old guy. Why? How about I sit back here and watch because this is hilarious?
Exactly.
And miss out on the fun?
Of beating up somebody who I beat up already?
Who better?
Exactly.
Who better
Jesus
to
Christ.
do it?
These motherfuckers did lost without me. So why am I gonna go out there and help them if they can't handle their shit altogether? They had to get their heat back. It's about Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks getting their heat back after they lost.
Because it's Team Taz, not Coalition of Taz.
This is just complaining and crying for the sake of complaining and crying.
I didn't even complain about Sting yet. That's what I was waiting for. He decided to go on a tangent about Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, he's just complaining about anything.
Anything. It was Dustin, then it was Arn Anderson, and then there's a new complaint I haven't even heard about. Gangs just beat people up randomly because they are a gang.
They're heels.
And the heels just beat people up because all heels are exactly the fucking same. That's not how that works.
It's not.
It's supposed to be. It's where we want to ride wrestling.
It's never been like that. What are you talking about? Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
You want to go on your Sting complaint?
When Brock Lesnar was a part of the whole Heyman thing, he never came out just for the sake of coming out.
To be fair, he's got
Jesus
a stable
Christ.
backstage. He's a little busy.
Go ahead. I know you want to complain about Sting, or do you? Are you already worn out?
Are you worn out with those complaints?
Yeah.
I'm a little worn
Do you have
out.
anything to say about Sting?
At all.
Oh.
The biggest thing in AEW history. Go ahead.
You took the one out of my sails a little bit, Sid, because you mentioned something at the start of this.
You did.
And
Shocked
you
me. It kind of cooled me down too. Go ahead.
It did cool me down a lot. You said potentially, and now I'm kind of hoping this is the way they go, that Sting could be an authority figure. I don't hate that. I didn't think of that at all. So I was very worked up and I didn't think of that. He's the old guy who's been around for a while and he's respected and yada yada yada. He can book matches and nobody's going to say anything to him because he walks around with his bat.
And he can handle himself, yes.
Right? So I don't hate that. I do have, however, have a threshold. Personally, I don't think anyone's going to agree with me, and that's fine. Whatever.
Well, that's not new.
I think a wrestler's shelf life ends somewhere between 45 and 50. If it was up to me on their 45th birthday, here's your cake and get the fuck out. Okay? Regardless. Okay?
So we would have missed out on 5 Splendor Ric Flair.
Yeah.
We'd have missed out on the last few years of Jericho also.
Yep. When Jericho became into the GOAT conversation, we would have missed out on all of that if it was up to Marcus Cash.
Because Jericho, as entertaining he was...
His entire ECW run, where he put ECW on the map as the 3rd biggest promotion in professional wrestling.
Who's this?
We would have missed out on all of that.
Who?
Funk.
Funk?
Terry Funk.
Oh, yeah. I can do it without Funk. Funk can go away.
This is why you never do anything across the board, people. You do case by case basis.
Funk can go away.
Jesus Christ.
Dustin Rhodes can go away.
I was going to Ric Flair. He was
I know Sting's gonna get a match.
Yes.
Right? He's probably gonna get a couple. And I'm not here for it. I think Cody can maybe salvage a decent match out of him.
I would say so.
I don't see how any other match is not terrible. At all. I don't understand why we keep bringing back these old heads to have these matches.
You do understand why.
Like nostalgia, but
they bring back the old guys, especially someone who is synonymous with professional wrestling on TNT. You bring him back to get the casual and the lapsed fan to turn in and tune into your television program. And if any organization, company, promotion in professional wrestling has been able to use legends in the right way, it is All Elite Wrestling. Arn Anderson brought in. He has been associated with Cody Rhodes, and he's been used in a good form. Tully Blanchard has been used as the manager of FTR and has established FTR as the top heel tag team in AEW. Jake the Snake Roberts, who you yourself have said has cut some of the best promos in AEW associated with Lance Archer. Kaz, who you yourself has said has cut some of the best promos in AEW associated with Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Brian Cage. 2 out of the 3 can't cut a promo on their own. The third, Ricky Starks, he can cut his own promos, but Taz has been used in excellent form. Their use of the legends has been tremendous for the most part. So I don't understand why they haven't gained your trust or at least given you a slimmer of hope where you can understand why they are bringing in someone like Sting.
Fair. But Sting hasn't mattered in a generation.
No, that's wrong. Because when he came back to WWE in 2014, the following Raw after Survivor Series 2014 did one of the highest ratings of the entire year. When Sting came back this week on AEW, it did its highest 18-49 key demo rating of over 500,000 viewers of the year. And for AEW's Pro Wrestling Tees shop, it was the fastest selling T-shirt in the history of their shop. So Sting is a draw. Sting proved he was a draw once again. Their main event segment did the highest rating of the show. So it not only means that Sting is a draw because he sold those T-shirts, because he was on the show that drew that high rating. It proved that people that weren't tuning into AEW tuned in when they heard Sting is back. So your complaints are the facts work against it. Apologies for that.
No, it's sad. It is sad.
I was about to say, it's time for you to shift gears from this doesn't work to this won't be any good. Go ahead.
It's sad that people are excited. When he came back to WWE, he looked awful. At every turn, he looked terrible.
No, he did. The debut was excellently done. It was perfectly done.
He looked bad.
The match at WrestleMania,
terrible.
They booked it to be terrible. Because they had 101 run-ins, and it completely went against, because Sting came in to once again be the hero against the heel faction of the Authority, and then all of a sudden on WrestleMania 31, it became WWE versus WCW.
We should have told you how that match was going to fucking end.
However, his match with Rollins wasn't a barn burner either. That was also bad.
Rollins is unsafe and had just injured somebody else and then injured Sting.
Rollins is one of their best workers.
And he's also a very unsafe worker.
Nonetheless.
Examples B and C, John Cena and his broken nose, Finn Balor and the injury that pretty much ruined his main roster run. I mean, Seth Rollins is one of the best in-ring performers in the ring, but he's also been proven as pretty unsafe in the ring.
To be fair, that Finn Balor injury is the only negative you mentioned.
Jesus Christ, that is mean even for you.
Seth Rollins, our Monday Night Messiah, our savior of SmackDown, okay, I am eternally grateful for saving us from that Sting and Undertaker match. For injuring Sting, what I hoped was for good.
Jesus, that's just gross.
You go really extreme with these like your hatred of people.
It's not a hatred of Sting personally. I enjoyed him in the 90s. Okay? I didn't even love Sting in 2001. I was over Sting already. 99-ish, maybe going into 2000, okay. Before WCW was off of TNT, I was over Sting. Then, because
were you watching?
Huh? WCW, I was watching both shows. I was watching Raw and Nitro. Nitro more, because I was allowed to watch that more so than Raw. Strict parent. But I was just over Sting going toward the end of WCW. I think it was you. I didn't remember where it was, but you mentioned how much you love Sting. It's probably you telling me, oh, TNA, 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 TNA. And every time I tried to watch TNA, I hated myself more. There was like Samoa Joe, there was AJ Styles, and it was like yuck for a lot of everything else.
Okay, can you focus?
Sting's a part of that. I've been overstaying literally 20 years now. I don't understand why everybody goes, oh my God, when I was a teenager. I don't get it.
Such a worn out.
Sid is excited.
Minutes.
Simon Miller is excited. I don't understand why all these people are losing their shit about somebody from us. What's 7 years ago? What is that? It's 20 years of score? It's 20 years of score.
Alright, Jesus fucking Christ.
Do I have to use archaic language to explain how long ago Sting mattered?
I will say Sting's signing concerns me. You mentioned Anderson and Taz and them. They're not wrestlers. They used to be. And I'm concerned that we could be heading down. Listen, once you taste something that... Pause. Once you have something that tastes good, you go back to it. So Sting, it gets that bump, that ratings bump for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Why wouldn't you think we should do that again? I like the way that felt. Let's go insert... TNA is my immediate thought in my fucking head, where they just did it. They did it for Angle, which worked, by the way. Christian first, which everybody loves at this one.
Sting worked.
Yes.
Sting got them high huge ratings.
Kurt Angle worked. I thought they both booked properly, by the way. Sting worked, but then because it's bumps and then comes down, you have to keep fucking doing it to keep that same high. And all of a sudden, you look around and get a company full of old guys, expensive old guys at that. That's the only thing that concerns me about this. Is that you do Sting, and then you do, I don't know who's available, Goldberg or whoever. You just keep fucking going because you get that bump. Then all of a sudden you get a company full of old guys and you already have an overbloated roster. I don't want to see TNA Part 2. I've already been heartbroken.
You don't want to see...
I watched the first TNA show. Fucking, I remember Amazing Red being on that show. I don't want to see it again.
You don't want to see Sting versus Dustin Rhodes versus DDP? And All Out 4.
To be fair, they did DDP properly on the show.
DDP was proper. DDP got to have another matchup.
Yeah.
And he didn't really even take a bump. And I don't see Sting. I see Sting wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I see Sting maybe in a tag match. I see Sting maybe in a singles match. He signed for about 2 to 3 years. So I don't say, I'm not going to be one of those fans that's like, Sting's not going to wrestle.
Yeah,
I know he's going to wrestle, but I don't necessarily see him taking that many bumps. He may have 2 bumps left on his bump card, and that's only good for maybe 1 singles match. So I don't see the big deal in bringing him back. If it attracts the casual viewer, the lapsed wrestling fan, then it works. It is paying. It's already paid off. I can see them using him the right way, where this is a beneficial signing for AEW.
2 bumps. So you're saying we need Sting versus Boxley?
I don't get the reference.
Oh, Moxley's a hardcore match every time.
Okay. That's where you're going. All right. Fair enough.
I mean, he didn't have a hardcore match on this show, so...
It wasn't the outside.
Yeah.
But...
I think that's a good way to segue, though.
Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. But before we do, you mentioned it earlier. I really liked. You were confused, but I really liked Sheila's promo. Not the promo in itself, but that segment was it. She was talking. She's not afraid. Then it was like somebody dropped something. And she, what was that? I love that because last week she looked scared of Abaddon. It is what it is. She looked nervous and she's scared of this mess. Who looks great in a graphic, by the way. Abaddon looks like somebody I have to tune in to see what the fuck that actually is. I'm here for it.
What that is.
What the fuck is that? She's in action next week.
It's like something out of a horror movie.
Yes. I mean, she looks how I thought in my head The Undertaker looked when I first saw him when I was a kid. Like, this is a monster of some kind. And I should leave the room. Very quietly. Not like a bitch.
Nothing's anything wrong with that.
Nothing's anything wrong with bitches. The main event.
Before the main event,
okay, go ahead.
I know this is going to sound repetitive, and I know this is not news, but Jon Moxley cut another killer promo.
He did. He did. It was kind of... yes, he did. That's all I'll say. It was splendid.
We're going to go without saying territory on these promos. After his White Meat Babyface promos when he won the tournament, he's been money.
You really hated the promo?
I hated that.
I didn't like it, but you hated that promo. Jesus.
There's, alright, things I hated, right? There's like Dustin Rhodes, there's Matt Jackson, there's Sting coming back, right? There's Britt Baker not being women's champion. right? There, and then there's like that white meat babyface promo.
Yeah, anyway, this one wasn't that. It was splendid.
Yeah.
The match, I thought, with him and Omega, first of all, I was a little mad Omega didn't have his girls with him. I was a little annoyed. Ain't gonna lie.
Where's the promies?
It's part of his ridiculous fucking intro.
And them not being in sync with each other makes it even better.
The match I thought was really good outside of one spot. I think we all know what it is. I'm not gonna get into it.
Dumbest spot of the night.
Dumbest spot of the night?
Dumbest spot of the night.
I thought it was the poor characterization. That chair spot. Moxley hits with DDT that brings the chair to the ring. Excalibur tried to sell it as Moxley being upset about being attacked last week. But, 2 weeks ago. But, we just heard Moxley talk and he didn't even mention it. So I don't like the chair spot. At all. And the fact that he lost the match after that.
What I hate the most about it is that chair spot comes after his finishing move, where you would think he'd want to pin his opponent and keep his title.
By the way, after that chair spot, he goes, I think Matt Jackson booked it.
I know Matt Jackson booked that.
No, he did. That's definitely a Boxley idea.
Yeah.
I got it. I understood it. It was to tease that Moxley was going to use the weapon and be unsportsmanlike, but all he wanted to do was have a gentleman's slugfest. A gentleman's slugfest. I'm going to sit you up in this chair, and we're going to beat the shit out of each other.
See, I would have liked that. I would have liked that spot early in the match.
You could start the match with that, if anything.
Yeah, I like that spot early.
I wish he would have went for the pin of the paradigm shift and Omega kicked out, and then he did that.
Ooh.
I can take that. I can take that, but not going for the pin whatsoever made no sense.
But I also get his thinking is, I don't want this motherfucker to kick out of my finisher that many times.
Yeah.
He winded up.
So choke him. You have a chokehold. Choke him.
Not fair enough, I guess. I gotta be honest, we continue our theme of making referees look stupid because fucking Moxley, he DT him or toss him? Omega on the outside into that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. And then Paul Turner doesn't count, by the way. He goes to check on Omega, which you would imagine any other contest, this gives the fucking guy who did the move an unfair disadvantage. I'm winning now, and we're stopping to check on this guy's health. This bothers me. First of all, count him out.
We stop the
match. The match is over.
We stop the match, but don't stop the match. If he can't go, the match is done.
I gotta be honest, outside of the logic of that, I kind of love the finish.
I love the finish.
It kind of spits in the face of everything. Like, almost in the face of AEW.
You talking about specifically the Don Callis?
Yeah, because they haven't done any shitty world title finishes. None. Mm-hmm. And the first time you get one is on the biggest show of the year with Don Callis and Kenny Omega and Impact Wrestling, and it screws over the best champion they fucking had and fucking the best wrestler in the world. It was just like, how much can you fuck somebody in one segment? And I loved it. I was here for it.
That's how you protect the most protected babyface in the business. When he takes his first loss in the company, it's got so much shenanigans, so much bullshit behind it, and the fact that the story of the match was Omega. Omega was the guy that was like, gentleman's agreement. He doesn't use any weapons. I knew this would happen. I was like, how is he gonna go back on this? Because this would be the heel turn. Because he said, gentleman's agreement. We're not gonna use any weapons. Leave the barbed wire and the glass tables. So he gets a loaded mic because that mic had to be loaded. Because first of all, the first hit was Don Callis doing like this, not even really checking if the mic was working. He was trying to make sure that it was still loaded. And then he has to scream out, he's hurt. He's hurt. He's like, get the fuck out of here. And then he throws the loaded mic to him. Boom. Then 404 D triggers, and then the one wing angel. That's how you protect your protected babyface, and that's how you give us a new top heel world champion. And that alone would have been great because it's a heel turn of one of your top stars. The post match just was the cherry on top.
The running out of the arena.
Create buzz and created some of the most talked about episode of weekly wrestling in years.
I like the running out of the arena the most with that. The Don Callis finish, like I said, I hate the chair spot. I hate it so much. But ending, cool. Moxley cut himself too to sell the microphone shot. Here for that. Running off with the belt like a scalded dog.
Yes.
Here for all of it.
The Impact drop, you know what? In a vacuum, I love that word. I loved it. I love the idea of it. And it should work based on synergy, but you'd have to educate me because this is a deal, clearly, between Impact and AEW. I feel like Impact is getting significantly the better of the deal. Like, you're getting Omega and you're getting Our Buzz, and apparently you're on Access fucking television. Apparently, I didn't know that.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Access TV.
If this is a trade deal, this is, you know what? It's fucking Westbrook for John Wall. It looks even on fucking paper. Yeah, my problem, your problem. Point guard. Money. Except one of them can play, one of them hasn't done anything for 2 years. In TNA's case, God knows how fucking long. This feels like a one-sided deal. What, fucking insider, what are they, Sid Broussard, what is AEW getting out of this deal exactly?
Okay, in my opinion, before I give you the newest report that's come out about this, in my opinion, I do agree with you. Impact does get the better of this deal because Impact has kind of ruined its name to the modern day wrestling fan due to, like you said before, their use of WWE guys and legends, their just bad treatment of talent in the past, but none of that is in Impact right now. Impact has really had a revitalization over the last 2 years with Don Callis as the vice president, with Scott DeBoer as the vice president. You might remember him as the manager of Team Canada. And so those two guys at the helm have really reshaped Impact, and it's a true alternative to not only WWE but AEW as well. So I think that it puts a spotlight on them. This next episode is probably going to be the most watched episode of their television program on Access TV since it made that move over. So it's by far unquestionable that they get the better of this deal. However, that kind of takes away from the fact that this does also benefit AEW. AEW has all been about reshaping and getting everybody back into professional wrestling and being different from WWE. This is the biggest thing that they have ever done that's completely different from WWE. WWE would not think of working with a lower promotion where if not, just one single fan or one person in their company thinks that lower promotion will benefit more, WWE won't do it. And Triple H put that out in the open during the conference call for TakeOver. He said, well, if we're going to do a partnership, that's to benefit WWE for 10 to 15 years. So it's all about the long-term benefit. He didn't say anything about benefiting both sides. He said benefiting WWE for the next 10 to 15 years, which, as we've seen with the WCW versus WWF feud, meant putting the other out of business and making sure WWE and WWF is the most powerful thing. They've done work with Progress in ICW and literally gutted them and put Evolve out of business to create NXT and NXT UK. So this right here shows me that AEW is different, that Tony Khan is a professional wrestling fan because he wants some type of synergy with another promotion. Now what I've learned from Wrestling Inc., Nick Hausman, who we've actually had here on the True Hill 8 YouTube channel for an interview, he did a report where he reported that basically Omega asked Don Callis to do him a favor and to appear on AEW Full Gear and for the big match against Moxley this week. So in return, Don Callis asked him for a favor to appear on Impact Wrestling. As of right now, this is just a one-off. However, they also reported that the Good Brothers are going to come to AEW. Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows of the Bullet Club will be in AEW for a match, likely against the Young Bucks. So right there, you're giving us a high-profile match that has a lot of history due to their connection in the Bullet Club. If we get a long-term type of invasion or cross-promotion, this is just going to create more buzz and get more people into AEW and into professional wrestling. Labs fans, as well as Labs fans and casual fans will be into it, because a lot of people left professional wrestling when WWE fucked up that invasion angle. They just left, and they never watched for the last 19 years. So when you say two main promotions are working together, that will get the Labs fan and casual fan that has left to tune back in. And tenfold, it helps AEW if it is a long-term crossover, because AEW's biggest complaint is their women's division. And outside of WWE NXT, the best women's division in professional wrestling is Impact Wrestling's Knockouts division. Taya Valkyrie, Rosemary, Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo, Sue Young. These are great professional wrestling women. So if we can get some type of cross promotion, it will put more of a focus on your Dr. Goat Baker, who you love so much. On Big Swole, it will help improve her by being in the ring with better competitors than what AEW has currently. Hikaru Shida, who has been begging and pleading and had to go out of the company before to get one of her best rivals of her title reign, will get more competitors to be in the ring with. This only helps AEW. It doesn't help them as much as Impact Wrestling, but it definitely benefits them.
So you're saying that there's going to be women coming in potentially trying to take the spotlight away from Dr. Goat Baker?
That's exactly what he said.
I don't like that.
I hear no difference with the two of you just said.
I don't. Good Brothers can come and they can job to the Young Bucks. That's cool. I like the Good Brothers. I don't like a tag team coming in to further not have FTR be here. But I'm good with Machine Gun Carl. These women, though, while not terrible from what I've seen, I don't see much of Impact. I have seen some women's things. Not terrible, but this should be the women's division should be the Dr. Baker show.
Jesus fucking Christ!
She should have both belts. She should have the NWA belts. She should have the AEW women's belts.
The Baker show, and that's when everybody complained about it, because they weren't putting focus on Hikaru Shida. They weren't putting focus on other girls. So they need more, because that's been their crutch this whole time. Oh, we don't have Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander got injured. Oh, we don't have Rio. Rio's in Japan. Oh, we lost B. Priestley. Oh, Jaden Hayter is in Japan. So they had all these excuses. Now you're getting that influx of talent that's only going to put more of a focus on your women's division.
Yeah.
As long as they job to Dr. Baker.
You're ridiculous. Go Baker's spot is fine. She's on both shows.
It's secure.
She needs to win the AEW women's title, finally. She needs to win the NWA women's title since it's there. And if we're going to do a cross promotion, I want to see her knockout champion as well, and I want her holding all three at the same time.
First of all, I'm not here for the people who watch this. Please don't be turned off on Go Baker because of this ridiculousness. Go Baker is still amazing. Don't let this sour you on Go Baker.
I'm promoting her.
You're not. You're fucking oversaturating the market with Go Baker. Go Baker is amazing.
Shoving it down her.
Yes.
You're
Don't.
Vince McMahon with Roman Reigns.
Yes, you're Roman Reigns-inger, goddammit.
Follow me.
I feel like this is the best week the women's division's had, quite frankly. Or at least the prototype of what I want. We get a match, we get a segment, two different feuds, and there was a mention of them at some other point throughout the show. What's going on with Jade and fucking
Nothing. Nothing's happening.
Yeah,
what happened with Shaq?
The last 2 weeks.
What happened with Shaq?
They had the segments the last 2 weeks. You had to make room for other things.
Have we already?
They had to rush out Eddie Kingston at the end of the show to remind y'all that he has a feud with Lance Archer.
Which I was here for, by the way.
I was complaining that there was no Kingston until the last 35 seconds.
Hear his voice, like, oh shit, it's Eddie Kingston.
What she should do every week now, just run to the table and just say something.
Are they dropping the Shaq thing? Like they dropped the Mike Tyson thing? I hope so.
I'm for it if it's a tag match.
Oh.
If it's a tag match, like I said, it's all about bringing in casual viewers. So one-off matches like that, I'm not necessarily down on, and that's how WWE got most of its viewers in the Attitude Era. They brought in Mike Tyson. Of course, Mike Tyson was much hotter in 1998 than he was in 2020. Same thing with Shaq. Shaq would be much hotter if you bring him in 1998 than he would be in 2020. But it's a star. It's someone that will bring in viewers that are not regularly watching your show. So I understand it.
Okay, fair enough. Anything to add? If you could keep it relatively quick.
No, I'm spent.
Plug.
I mean, I had a great time being on here with you guys. Always fun when we could talk about these big AEW shows. I'll plug Sportskeeda. I'm coming out with an article where I'm giving the top 10 best TV specials of the Wednesday Night Wars between AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. Winter is Coming is definitely going to make the list. That's all I can say. One of the best shows of AEW of the entire year.
It was a solid show. Post your comments, however, down below. Like, share, subscribe.